Perfect.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's really, really good to welcome you all this afternoon to our presentation on our one-to-one devices. A warm welcome to our new Form 1 parents. That's our incoming parents for 25-26, and of course our current Form 3 parents as well. I really do appreciate your time this afternoon for joining us. It's much appreciated. And this is actually presentation, really, this is year 2 of the school's one-to-one devices strategy, following the rollout last August at the start of 2024. So firstly, introduce myself. I'm Mark Wallace. I'm the head master of King's Hospital, joining in January. So thoroughly enjoying integrating myself into the KH community. Obviously, Form 3 parents who were there at the TY presentation last Friday. It was really, really nice to get a chance to say hello to you. And I thoroughly look forward to meeting incoming Form 1 parents in due course. Before I do a few introductions here to colleagues who are also participating in today's presentation, just a few house rules, if that's okay. You will be, your cameras will be off, and the microphones will also be off during the presentations. There is the Q&A and chat function available. Any questions that you'd like to put onto chat, that's available for you throughout the presentation, and do populate any questions you'd like to present as we go through the presentation, and we will come to those questions at the end of the sessions to answer those. So thank you very much for your forbearance on that. Introductions, I have with me this afternoon the pleasure of having Dave Plummer. You might see him there in the middle of the screen with his cricket whites on. He is not only is he an assistant principal with regards to leading on one-to-one devices, so very involved in the lead out this academic year, but also a cricket man, as you can see, and also a science teacher as well here at the school. Hugh Callan is our digital services manager, and at the top of the screen, certainly as I'm looking, we've got Connor Seary, who is our customer success manager with Wriggle, who are our partnership in the devices rollout. So really, thanks again for attending. And without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Dave. And I think is the presentation live? Is it on? I can't. Yes, there we go. Dave, over to you.
Okay. So this is just the second year, as Mark said, we're in the middle of the first year, or towards the end of the first year of having the devices as one-to-one with the students in class. So with the new guys coming in with devices next year, it'll be obviously the second year. So we're learning as we're going as well. We're doing a lot of questions with parents, with students, with staff, to see how the devices are working in the classroom, with the ultimate goal of it aiding the literacy, the numeracy, and in overall the learning that's happening in the classroom to make it more enjoyable, because that's always the goal, obviously, that the students enjoy learning first of all. So really what I wanted to kind of share with you is what we as a staff have seen in terms of the improvements within the classroom from having a one-to-one device there. Obviously there's a variation in certain classrooms. There's been different skill levels, but we've done an awful lot of work at trying to get our staff up to the same level, and that's continuing all the time. But some of the major things that we've noticed from in the classroom we've seen help. I see an improvement in different areas in learning. Would be Hugh, could you go to the next slide, please, if that would be okay? Yeah, I mean, these were four of the things that have stood out in the surveys that we've done amongst staff, is that obviously the devices are going to provide a greater access to a wider number of learning resources, which with CBAs, the classroom-based assessments for all subjects at junior cycle level, is hugely important. And now with the same kind of structure coming into the Leaving Cert, with the AACs, the additional assessment component, we're going to be in that situation again where the more resources that the students have, the better they're going to be able to submit projects for the actual exams. And at Leaving Cert level, that's going to be worth a minimum of 40%. What we've also seen is improved digital literacy and technology skills. So our students are brilliant at having a mobile phone and being able to take TikToks and do Instagrams and get their phones to turn upside down and record things underwater and everything else like that. But to actually create a document or to send an email or any kind of formal side of IT, they really they struggle with that side of it. So we've seen a huge upturn in that. And obviously, again, coming back to those projects that are going to be assessed now, that's massively important. So that's been a huge bonus for us as well. Again, using those projects as well, it's allowed the students to have a certain amount of independence when they are learning too. We don't have to be standing over every single student at the exact same time. Once they're directed in the correct way, they're then going off and learning at their own speed in terms of populating everything that they need to have into their projects. And it's not just projects, it's also using the software that different subjects use to enhance kind of the understanding of certain topics as they go along. And so there's been a big upturn on that. And I suppose the last thing is that there's been an improvement in the engagement of students in the classroom and their participation. You know, I suppose that we've always seen that the enthusiastic students that will put their hands up all the time, and almost, you know, there's three or four that can take over a classroom sometimes and the others can hide. But this offers the opportunity for the whole class to get involved, and through different software that we use, we can see their participation, we can measure their participation as they go along. And so that's been brilliant, particularly for those ones who maybe, you know, are a little bit shy, haven't come out of their shell, are not as far along the maturation journey yet in terms of their social skills within the classroom. So that's been a huge bonus too. If Hugh, could you go to the next slide again, please? Thank you. So this is just a quick summary of it. I mean, from the literacy skills from the formal side of things, because we're a Microsoft school, we've been focusing on using Microsoft Teams, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Outlook. So Outlook obviously is the email side of that, and then creating documents within Word and Excel, which are, you know, whether it's just a written document, whether it's graphs, you know, whether it's mathematical. Then the Teams function allows us to do collaboration within the class, and PowerPoint is a way for them to present their projects, whether it's the CBAs or just a classroom project. We're yet to find out from the department what the Leaving Cert projects are going to be on, but at least they're getting into the habit of producing something in a presentation format. And so, as I said already, the independent learning, what it's enabled them to be able to do, the students be able to improve, is their projects, their classroom-based assessments, the portfolios with the transition year students, and then the preparation for the additional assessment components at Leaving Cert level, which is, as I said, it's just coming in for the science subjects and for business this September. But after 4 years' time, it'll be in for all subjects. So it really is important that they do have those skills to be able to provide the best project so they can get as high a percentage as possible. Um, because at the end of the day, the higher the percentage, the more points they're going to get. And that is obviously what is important to get to third level. But overall, we've seen a huge bonus. There have been things that we still need to improve. And what has been brilliant has been the parents' involvement to date and the feedback we've got from them, and also from the students and the feedback we've got from them in terms of areas that they found difficult, in terms of areas they'd like to see improve. So we're constantly learning. As I said, we're only coming to the end of year one, so we're really in the infancy of this. So hopefully, with every year, with the feedback from all of the different stakeholders, will improve as we go year on year. So that's my bit as to how we've seen it improve in the classroom anyway.
Thank you, Dave. It's much appreciated. So the second, thank you, Dave. Much. Any questions following on from Dave's presentation? Do pop those into the chat or the Q&A function keys. and we will come to those at the end. Now I'm going to introduce Connor, who are Wriggle are our partners in the rollout of the one-to-one devices. And Connor, over to you.
Thanks very much, Mark, and thank you very much for the invite this afternoon to discuss Wriggle and the one-to-one model that we run in partnership with the King's Hospital. First slide is on the device that is the device of choice for the King's Hospital. It is a Lenovo 300W touchscreen student laptop, and we don't just say student laptop for the sake of it. This is a device that is not available in Harvey Norman or on Amazon. It is specifically designed by Lenovo for the post-primary educational world. It's a robust design, fairly solid, will put up with an amount of user interactions. It is a 2-in-1 device, which means, as you can see from the slide, the image on the left of the slide, it will flip over into a touchscreen ThinkPad to allow that functionality, which is more so on the creative subjects and the creative side of stuff. The design and the performance of the machine is exceptionally good in the educational sector, and it is, for the first time this year, it is available on a 5-year warranty from the manufacturer, which I think speaks to their comfort and our comfort and the school's comfort that this is the device that will take your child through post-primary. I will touch on that a little bit more on our service and support side. The bundle cost for the school, the device itself is €579. As you see, the last bullet point there, the 5-year warranty, which we're delighted to be able to offer. The heavy duty case protector, €50, and the Wriggle configuration and service and support for the entire 6 years is €120. The entire bundle is $749, and there's a couple of options for payment. Pay by card or bank transfer is available on our store, as well as this year for the first time the option to spread the cost across the first year at 0% interest. That option will be available to all parents when they get to the checkout on our store. There is one thing I'd like to touch on, and that's as you go through the store journey, you will be presented with an optional extra of device insurance. This is a third-party insurance supplier who we've partnered with. As you can see, the things that aren't covered under warranty, under manufacturer warranty, would be accidental damage, drops or devices left in school bags and stood on, liquid damage, water damage, and theft and loss. So from my point of view, I have made very clear to schools and to parents that we're looking at 12-year-olds getting a €600 piece of equipment from September. Get it insured, whether it's with ourselves, with Yes Insurance through ourselves, or if you have your own devices insured, you can add this device to your policy. It does not have to be with ourselves. You get the exact same level of cover. If you do take out the device insurance in first year, I think the cost is $749 on our website at the moment, and will be up until September, $749 per month. The advice I would give you is that a 12-year-old with a €600 piece of kit, in 3 years' time, that's a 15-year-old with a €250 or €300 piece of kit, and maybe the $749 a month isn't really, you're not really getting the benefit of that anymore. But as I say, any insurance you can find for a device insurer or adding to an existing policy, would highly recommend exploring that avenue. Our managed device model, so the one-to-one model at the school have gone with, we support that, and what you get for the €120 for 6 years is customer service support through the entire time in school. So we have an Irish contact centre that is throughout the year, working on all business days, as well as a mailbox, info@Wriggle Learning. All this information will be supplied to you. For anything to do with getting your order, assistance, navigating the store, and when the device does come, any help you might need around setup, around work, things not working the way they should be. I know the school are a great support as well, and Hugh runs that in school, but outside of school hours and on school holidays, we provide the same level of service, and you can contact us at any stage. Our commitment around response times is within 1 working day and resolution within 2 working days for any issues raised. The device configuration, the laptop will be sent to your home on day one, and with a small startup guide of connecting the device to your home Wi-Fi that will allow the device to pull down the profile that we've built for your son or daughter. 2 seconds, I just have to admit somebody to the lobby, a late joiner, trying to do both. So what that means is the device will come heavily restricted for educational use only. We use mobile device management technology to ensure that only apps that the school have provisioned and given permission to be provisioned on the device are available. These devices cannot connect to an app store, to the Microsoft store, to download a Netflix or a social media related app. And the configuration will also pull down the student profile in relation to Wi-Fi, the school's Wi-Fi passwords, everything of that nature, to make sure that when they walk into school on day one, it will be a plug and play solution. Training, one thing you will get as part of making an order with ourselves is access to Wriggle Connect. So the parent making the order will get this access to Wriggle Connect Family. I would strongly recommend having a look at that over the summer when you get a chance, and early in the next school year. We have a number of short training videos and support tools as to how you can use the device and some of these apps and all of the apps that you'll be using, but some of them may be new to you, to support your child doing homework, building your own digital literacy to support the educational area. As well as that, we have a number of videos and training modules on what we call digital resiliency and online safety and awareness, which I know it's a massive, and rightfully so, a massive concern for all parents. I don't know how many people saw the documentary last week on RTE, but I think we know the world we're living in now. We can't wrap them up and keep them offline at this age, but we have some great tools on there that will help build their critical thinking. And as I say, we call it the digital resiliency and online safety. The device security, MDM that I touched on, repairs and loaners. So as part of the €120 6-year service and support package, we ensure that we will manage all repairs and we will provide loan devices to the student in the event that the device needs to go for repair. We call it our Swap It program. So how that works in reality is we've provided a stock of these devices to the King's Hospital so that if a student were to be in class and the device stops working, or they arrive to school and the device was lost over a weekend or can't be located and they're making an insurance claim, these stock of replacement devices are ready to go so that a student can log in and within 10 or 15 minutes pull down their profile and have no loss of learning time, while their original device is either repaired or replaced. Wriggle Connect Family, which I touched on, it's a massively powerful resource, and I would strongly encourage everyone to go and have a look at that. Timeline and next steps. So the store opened this week, and that was for all of our Dublin schools. So the store is up and live at the moment. We have prepared a parent information pack, and I've been liaising with Hugh at the school to refine that, and that will be getting sent out tomorrow or early next week. The store will remain open until the 24th of June. That is really to allow us 6 to 8 weeks to get to ensure that all the voices get to the homes in advance of the middle of August, to allow for that getting started step, so that your child arrives in school day one with a device configured and working.
Sorry, Connor, just to note that anyone who orders a device from abroad outside Ireland, it will be delivered to our school for the child to collect in August.
Okay, that's no problem. And is that something you... So as part of the order,
yeah, the delivery address that they put will be our school.
And yeah, they're informed of that.
Yeah.
And what I would add to that is, if you do make the order thinking you're going to be at home at the time and things change, a phone call or an email to ourselves, and we can amend the delivery address to the school for any changes that pop up post order. There will be no problem. In the middle of August, Wriggle will be hosting back to school webinars, which is really a short session to support those getting started steps or device, any troubleshooting questions, as well as a bit of assistance around our head of training and a couple of colleagues are ex-teachers themselves, and they will have short sessions on how to best support the post-primary student who is starting on the one-to-one model. They will communicate that to the school before the end of this academic year, those dates, and similar to this evening, you will get a link and an invite to join. And that's a little overview of what the Parents Information Pack will look like. It will have the store code. It's a school specific code that when you're registering your account with us, we ask for a store code to verify that it is a King's Hospital order. And you'll then proceed by entering the student's information and completing out the order. So all that being said, I will hand you back to Mark, and I will jump in and have a quick look at the Q&A and see what's in there.
So thank you, Connor. Much appreciated. I wondered if Dave, if I can go to you first, because I'm just thinking about as a Form 1 parent of Form 1 child coming in September, thinking about possibly what training the students would have from the outset, because obviously some students will have more experience potentially of using technology than others. Could you just give a short overview of what that might look like, Dave, how it looked last year?
So when they start, they have their induction period that goes on for, I suppose, a week, and part of that would involve basic IT skills that would just get them up and running. Then they have one period a week throughout the whole year that's timetabled, which is looking at which is IT skills, and there's a curriculum created within that is looking at trying to upskill them in using the Microsoft portfolio or the Microsoft Folio, and then myself and my colleague Judith will have drop-in sessions with them. We're still trying to look at the structure of that, but we want to, because it was one of the things that we wanted to improve from this year. But we hope to have more drop-in sessions with them throughout the year to kind of do a modular type approach, so to speak, that we have set goals for them to try and achieve every 6, 8, 12 weeks or what have you, so that we know that they're going into all of their classrooms with certain skills in terms of emails or Excel or Word, whatever it may be. But yeah, that's the structure. Would be a very quick induction at the start. Then there's every single week within class, there's one 40-minute timetable class, and then there will be set sessions throughout the year to try and touch base with all of them to make sure that everything's going in the right direction.
Thanks, Dave. I think that was quite important just to reassure particularly incoming parents just how that induction would look. The other thing, I suppose, from a parent's perspective as well is clearly in school we have our firewalls in place to make sure that usage of appropriate sites, etc., are being accessed only. I suppose another question, Dave, might be from parents is then just how do parents then try and assure as well as possible at home that students are away from websites that they shouldn't be really accessing. I suppose that would be a question parents might be concerned about.
So the firewall and the structures that we have in place are very robust, and Hugh would be able to explain more of them in terms of, because we've added to them to make them even more robust than that. One of the ways that students have found a way around it, as that's what students do, is to test the boundaries as much as they possibly can. They wouldn't be teenagers if they weren't trying that, is to get hotspots on their mobile phones. So there is a degree that it's it's monitoring from both sides. We can only monitor what's happening in during the school day, and it's us all working together, collaboratively in terms of the parents and the teachers, and you guys keeping an eye on whether they're using their hotspot when they're at home to be able to access it, because that is a potential loophole, that it's very difficult to close that up. Because there's no laws that close that up. So it is something we're aware of, but we can only manage it if we're working together.
If I don't mind, we are trialing an application called Senso, which will move. So at the moment, we are blocking websites through our firewall. So when they connect to our network, then it blocks the websites. So when they take it off our network and use their mobile, they can browse whatever they want. So Senso creates a firewall on the device. So even when they connect to their mobile, the websites will still be blocked, the games will still be blocked, and so on. So that's in trial at the moment, and we expect it to be fully live for August for all students in the school that have a device.
Yeah, and I think that there are a couple of questions that Senso is an answer to already in the Q&A. To follow up on Hugh's point, it is exactly that the broadband and the firewall settings at a school level, and even at home, a parent who goes and modifies their broadband with young adults and children in the house, as I have done, what we have seen without fail is we can't keep up with the rate of change. When a Facebook site gets blocked, 7 more pop up in its place that are mirror sites and through VPNs, etc. This piece of kit, Senso, is supplied by a company that we've partnered with, and what it actually does, it learns as it goes, and it interrogates the connection, the website that the device is trying to connect to, and responds back with a likelihood rating that this is 80% a Facebook mirror site or a Snapchat mirror site, and it blocks it at that level. There was another question in the Q&As around screen time. Senso does allow for screen time settings and hours of non-usage. Again, that's something that we will discuss through the trial with you and Dave and the team to see what's correct and appropriate. If we have a 16-year-old who wants to study at 11 o'clock at night, are we going to try and stop them? But that functionality is there, and we can apply it by year group in this trial. And that will be consulted with parents as to how that trial goes and prior to any rollout. As well as that, a question specifically around how does a teacher manage in the classroom. Senso will give, a bit like you're looking at here with the various screens, Senso has a classroom management function where a teacher will see the 24 students in front of them and what's on their screen live as they teach. It's not just that policing and preventative measure, it's a great piece of kit for collaboration where a teacher can say, John, Mary, I'm going to share your screen, show us what you did there, show the rest of the class, or put a problem up that we can work on collaboratively. So that's Senso in a nutshell. We've rolled it out at a couple of schools on trial, and the King's Hospital will be putting a trial in place coming out of the Easter break. And very much expect that it will be in place for all of your children in September.
There's another question that, thank you, Connor, for picking up on those Q&As. There's another Q&A question there about will the pupils do homework on their devices? And again, you will find that some teachers will, utilize devices to do homework, and some teachers, so some homeworks will be through the devices, some homeworks will be as we would normally, the books as well. So there'll be a mixture of both as students and staff become further skilled. So there will be opportunities and to do homework on the devices. Hence why they are, certainly within the boarding during prep time, they are of course able to use the devices to do, because some of their homeworks are through that mechanism. Just as well, going through the questions, there's one there about do children have to give in their mobile? There is in the boarding house, there is chargers in lockers, which is outside of their rooms. So they would be putting their mobile devices in the chargers overnight so that they're ready for the next day. So they would not have access to them during the night in the dorms, well, they should not at the very least anyway. So that's, just wanted to pick that one up. There's another one there about second-hand device. I think I'll refer to Hugh before coming back to that one. What OS is on the systems? I don't know if you saw that.
It's Windows 11.
Did you see that?
Windows 11. And Office 365 is provided on the devices through the school accounts. It's full. Yeah, there's no further subscription or any licensing needing to be purchased. I think that was a separate question.
Yeah, and then there was a class. What are the rules? That's you've mentioned that through Senso in terms of having that classroom management. Now that's coming through, and we're trialing that as you've alluded to, Connor. So that's picked up on that. And then in terms of the screen time, look, the screen time is certainly from the boarding perspective, that's something we can have a little bit more input in, of course. But obviously, what we want to work with parents is in terms of usage at home. Now it's there, like I said, there will be homeworks that will be using the the technology, the devices, and as well it's probably important to have some sight of what the boys and girls, what your sons and daughters are doing, as opposed to them working in their rooms, so in their bedrooms, sorry, with technology. You're never quite sure if they're doing homework or if they're actually using it for other purposes. So really, when you're, homework is approximately a couple of hours. I would stress, I suppose, when it comes to CBA's project time, there may be times where they need to spend a little bit more on the devices because they're putting together a presentation to coming to the end of that piece of work. But I'd certainly say 2 hours would be what a general rule for homework. So if your sons or daughters are doing more or on their devices for more during the evening, then that would be something you'd probably be hoping, from your perspective at home, to manage and liaise with. I suppose in many ways, if your son or daughter was saying, "Oh, but I need to do a little bit more," then there's no harm in dropping an email to their teacher or their tutor just to get clarification on that. But I think 2 hours would be a good indicator with regards to how much time they would be spending at the most, I would think, on their devices for homeworks in the evening as a starting point. Just to see if there's any more questions we haven't. Is there anything else? If you looked at the chat function.
Yes, there was one in relation to day students. Are students allowed the phones in school if they were a day student?
Yeah, we're actually, to be honest, we're going to come back to. I won't answer that now. We're actually looking at mobile phones. The rule is they should be out of sight. That's the rule in school. However, we are looking at just our mobile phone policy right now, with a review to be concluded next term. With the idea of the review then being shared with colleagues through the proper channels, colleagues, students, and parents for the start of the next academic year. I think we just need to be a bit more clarity on the mobile phones. As Mr. Plummer, Dave was alluding to, students possibly having mobile phones. They might be out of sight, but in their pockets in a classroom, and finding hotspots whereby trying to access technology beyond the firewalls. So with that in mind, we have to make sure that we try to be, in many ways, one step ahead of the students, but at the the priorities being their learning and not to be distracted from their learning. So yeah, we're looking at the mobile phone policy. We're looking at how we can make that more foolproof moving forward, and there'll be a little bit more communication on that once we've actually finished discussions and also gone through the consultation process here at school as well with colleagues. I hope that gives a little bit of, I think that has picked up all of the chat Q&A.
It has. Yeah, absolutely. I think the question around purchasing a second-hand device or setting something up, if you have a turnover of international students, to see maybe a sell-on program or after the fact. So what we might
maybe
do
we
with
could
that
look
one,
at that, Connor, away.
we
Maybe
can
we
do
look at
what
that
I was
first and then come back.
100% is what I was thinking, similar to the mobile policy, that myself and you and Dave will have a bit of a discussion. I will collate all of the questions up into an FAQ document and share with all of the participants here, including those who weren't here this evening, to share the knowledge and get answers and plenty of clarity there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Connor. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. We, as Connor said, we will get together. We'll get the answers to the questions that have been submitted. It is much appreciated you joining us to listen to how the rollout will work into the year 2 of the devices strategy. We look forward to working with you over the next coming year as we continue to learn, I suppose is the best way. All of us continue to learn just with regards to what technology can support in the classroom. So thank you very much. Have a great evening. And if I don't get a chance to see some of the parents who are currently with us, have a wonderful Easter.
Just very quickly.
Oh, sorry, Connor.
A last second question came in and probably pertinent. What is the next step to ordering? So the parent information pack will be emailed out by the school. It will have hyperlinks to our online store and the code that you need. And it will also have at the very bottom, the last page of the parent pack, it's a PDF document, will be how to order online. It has little short support videos that you can play at your own speed, put on closed caption, use Translate through YouTube for the order, how to place your order. And as well as that, at any stage from now, even prior to your order, our customer service information will be there, email and phone number. Pick up the phone or drop us an email if there's anything you would like assistance with. It's not a case of we won't call you until the order is in.
Thanks for clarifying that, Connor, and thanks for that question. Thank you. Have a good Easter, everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye.